What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we have another episode of the weekend recap. So we'll be recapping all the action that took place over the weekend. We'll mainly be focusing on the Premier League and the Formula 1. We'll touch on the League a tiny bit, but I mean the Premier League and the Formula 1 is where the main action took place over the weekend. We'll be recapping the return of Cristiano Ronaldo, the red card leg break for Harvey Elliot in the Liverpool-Leeds game. Very controversial red card in my opinion. We'll be discussing the controversial accident between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in the Monza Grand Prix. All that and more coming up in this video. Okay, as always, during a Premier League weekend, we will start it always the same way, which is a recap of the Manchester United game. As you can see on your screens here, Manchester United 4, Newcastle 1. If you see there, the top name for Manchester United does indeed say Cristiano Ronaldo, and there's two numbers next to his name, which I mean, hey, could you have asked for a better dream debut, debut part 2 for Ronaldo, coming back to Old Trafford, we just absolutely bashed Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle had a couple chances here and there, but I mean, without Callum Wilson, with the struggling style of football they play, with us putting big pressure on them, I mean, it would have taken quite a lot for us to lose to Newcastle. As you can see from the timestamps there, 62nd and then 80 and 92, the fitness of the boys came through, the changes we were able to make, bringing on Jesse, bringing on Donny, you know what I mean? These are world-class players that you're able to bring on that then just catalyze, the fitness, the results. I mean, the goal Bruno scored, I mean, when was that? The 80th minute? I mean, that's when the game was signed, sealed, and delivered, when Bruno scored that absolute long shot banger. I mean, Ronaldo scoring a brace, Messi Lingardinho coming on, scoring a goal. I mean, even the goal we conceded, a bit disappointed by it, but you know what I mean? A couple decisions, defensive decisions made a bit differently. I feel like Harry Maguire didn't need to commit himself as aggressively on the halfway line, maybe a little bit less of a commitment from that tackle from Harry Maguire. He just gives a bit of a jockey, maybe gets rounded, but because he slides, then get up, get back in position. It takes much longer. If you got jockey and then rounded, you still got a position, you still got a chance to get back in position a little bit faster. But sure, I mean, overall, can I be disappointed? We made 21 shots. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2 goals. I mean, man of the match. Bruno scoring 2 assists from Pogba, which isn't stated in the thing here, but I mean, 2 assists from Pogba as well. He's now on 7 assists in 4 games. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. Bruno's got 4 goals. Ronaldo's got more goals than Arsenal. I mean, he scored 2 goals. Sorry, I don't know why I just went immediately to attack Arsenal. I apologize, Arsenal fans. But yeah, I mean, absolutely a clinical performance from the boys in the second half. Once again, second half FC starting out strong. I mean, still a little bit shaky in the midfield, only running Matic. But I mean, the addition of Rafael Varane has definitely locked down that defensive line. You can see players, they would be very, very, very much more likely to try take on Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof as opposed to Varane. He just has a presence about him that as you start running, he's just right next to you. You know what I mean? So I mean, very, very nice performance from Manchester United. As you can see, we are now top of the log. I mean, we're joint top of the log with Chelsea and Liverpool, which, I mean, it's just incredible. You know what I mean? From the start to the season, you know what I mean? People saying Ollie's a PE teacher, Ollie's a this, that, and the other. It'll be interesting to see. I feel like this season will be the telltale sign. Before people were PE teacher, he didn't have the players, but now he's got the players. No doubt he's got the players. So it will be very interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out for Manchester United. Okay, the next match we will be looking at will be Arsenal versus Norwich. I will run through these Premier League matches nice and quick. Arsenal beat Norwich 1-0, a goal from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the 66th. I mean, if you look at these stats, I mean, Norwich are going down. I mean, to us now, they conceded 30 shots and only 52% possession on only 400 passes. Yeah, no, Norwich are going down. There's no way, shape or form Norwich, in my opinion, stay up. They just look awful. They just don't look very good. But the goal Arsenal scored was just chaos. I mean, Pepe takes a shot, it rebounds off the post, then into the keeper, then back into the thing, then a cross for Aubameyang to tap it in. So, I mean, very, very fortuitous goal scored by Arsenal. I mean, if you are an Arsenal fan, it's definitely still, code amber. It's not code red, but it's code amber. You know what I mean? We're 4 games into the season. You finally got your first bit of 3 points, scored a goal, which, I mean, can't ask for much more. All the banter before the game, 19th place versus 20th place. So it'll be interesting to see where Arsenal now currently 16th. So, I mean, not the worst start for Arsenal. I mean, did have a tough run of games playing, barring the Brighton game, then playing Chelsea and City, tough running game. So it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal come back now. They had their first team defensive line back, Aubameyang scoring goals. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal get on in their next game. Okay, the next game we will be touching on will be Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. This finished Tottenham 0, Crystal Palace 3. Crystal Palace just ran riot on Tottenham. I mean, look at these stats here. 2 shots, 1 on target, 37% possession for Tottenham. Palace had 18 shots with 63% possession. Yeah, no. Tottenham are in big trouble. I mean, obviously before this game, they had won 3 out of 3, but 3 1-0 wins. None of them were convincing. All of them were a bit shaky. You know what I mean? People saying, oh, the defense is locking it down. I mean, they didn't lock shit down this game. Tanganga got a red card, 100% deserved. Odsonne Edouard came on and literally scored. I think he's made 6 touches so far in the Premier League, because I think that was his debut. 6 touches, and he scored twice. So, I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, the good start for Tottenham means they are still in 6th place, but I mean, they're on a 0 goal difference. So, interesting to see how Tottenham play out in some of the bigger games. I mean, they beat City at the beginning of the season, so it'll be interesting. But I mean, a game like this, 2 shots, 1 on target to Crystal Palace, that can't be accepted. That just cannot be accepted by a team that people are touting. Are they the ones coming up, taking over North London? I mean, not with performances like that. No, they're not taking over Lawton. With performances like that, they're definitely not taking over North London. Okay, the next game we will look at will be Leicester City versus Manchester City. Bernardo Silva scoring the only goal of the game. I mean, I saw the highlight of the goal. I didn't actually watch the highlights of the full game. I should have. It was on at the same time as the United game, so I didn't get around to watching the highlights. But I mean, it looks like a clinical Manchester City performance, 61% possession, 25 shots. I mean, the goal did look very scrappy that they scored, so interesting. Interesting to see how Leicester plays, but I mean, you can't be mad. This is against Manchester City. They've got the lineup, they've got the players, they've got all they need here. Amazing, 11 fouls. Imagine all the possession, and then as they lose it, they're fouling. You know what I mean? Making sure play breaks down, making sure Leicester can't get a rhythm going about them. So yeah, interesting to see from these stats here. Decent amount of shots on target from City. So yeah, I mean, they did lose their first game to Tottenham, which I'm sure they must be kicking themselves now, seeing how Tottenham's been playing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how City keeps going. We've got Champions League this week. Interesting to see how, if Oaks are fielding their first teams, what the situation is with regards to Champions League this week. And then we've got another league game on the weekend. Interesting to see how City pans out. Leicester, I mean, where are Leicester in the league? Leicester, yeah, they've won 2 games. This tough game against City, you know what I mean? Early on in the season, tough game against City. I saw Jamie Vardy had a chance. I think it was offside. So yeah, I think these will definitely be 2 top 6 teams. Leicester can get their shit together. I mean, they made some good signings. They've got a solid team, so they definitely should be able to put on some stronger performances. And I think City, especially after that loss in the first game, will just continue this momentum they've got and just keep the ball rolling. It'll be interesting to see once we get some big games. Liverpool City, Chelsea City, these types of games. It'll be interesting to see how the momentum swings in those games. Okay, the next game we'll be looking at will be Chelsea versus Aston Villa. This game was won 3-0 by Chelsea, as you can see on your screen there. Romelu Lukaku scoring 2. Mateo Kovacic scoring the other one. I mean, it's given there as a Kovacic goal, obviously, because he kicked it in the back of the net. But I mean, Tyrone Mings literally passes it back to his keeper so badly that Kovacic just intercepts and scores. I mean, interesting to see on these stats here that Aston Villa actually had more shots and more shots on target. Just goes to show Edouard Mendy. I watched him make several saves. I mean, he, in my opinion, is definitely the best goalkeeper in the league at the moment, making saves left, right, and centre. He will definitely be the one keeping Chelsea at float, you know what I mean? Keeping all these clean sheets, dominating the goals. He's got presence, you know what I mean? He is a very, very impressive goalkeeper. To think that he'd been let go by his league team like 5 years ago in like the second French league or whatever, they just let his contract run down and let him go. And now, in my opinion, he's, like top 3 goalkeepers in the world at the moment. So that is pretty incredible. Once again, Chelsea, hot start. I mean, Lukaku scoring goals. That's not what you want to see if you don't support Chelsea. If you do support Chelsea, obviously that's what you want to see. Yeah, Villa in a bit of trouble. What position are Villa in the table? 12th. 1 win, 1 draw. 2 losses. So, I mean, bit of a tough start to the season for Villa. Always would have been a tough start with no Jack Grealish. So it'll be interesting to see how Villa continues, and it'll be interesting to see if Chelsea can continue this impressive form. Okay, on to the final Premier League game we'll be looking at. It was the Sunday game between Leeds and Liverpool. Liverpool came running out 3-0 victors. Leeds don't look very good, if I'm being entirely honest. Obviously, the biggest talking point from the game will be Pascal Struijk's red card. In my opinion, I don't feel it was a red card. I don't even feel like it was an egregious foul. I don't even think he fouled the guy. He came in for the tackle and legs got tangled up in his back leg. So he stood in like right leg, moving in this way to get the ball, and his left leg almost folds behind him and catches between Harvey Elliott's legs. And Harvey Elliot ends up dislocating his ankle. In live time, it did look like he completely broke his leg, which, I mean, nobody ever wants to see that, Touch wood, I hope he's, will have a fine recovery. I mean, it's tough to see a youngster like that getting starts for a team like Liverpool and then having to deal with an injury like that. But I personally don't understand why it was a red card. I understand a red card for outcome, but I mean, was that a straight red card? The ref didn't even blow it as a foul in live time right in front of him. He makes a decent tackle, and then, you know what I mean? It can be a complete accident in which his ankle gets caught and it gets twisted. You know what I mean? I don't understand. Times like when Jordan Pickford came out and scissor chopped Virgil van Dijk, but it was offside, so nothing there. So how can that be deemed less dangerous than the tackle my guy Pascal Struijk made? I mean, he made a decent tackle and legs got tangled, and it's super unfortunate. Nobody likes to see injuries, but Harvey Elliott came off on the worst side of it. It wasn't an egregious tackle such as the Xhaka one that was made a couple weeks ago where studs were high, aggression was shown. Man came in tracking back, a bit of a hard I mean, it wasn't even that hard of a tackle, and then, just unfortunately, injury came out of it. Nobody likes to see injuries, and I mean, wishing him an absolutely speedy recovery. Onto the game, I mean, Leeds don't look good at all. Leeds are in 19th place with 17th place with 2 draws. I mean, Leeds don't look very good. All the Bielsa love, they had a couple chances here and there for Leeds. I mean, Liverpool could have scored many more goals than that. There were a few, that one where they got crossed back to Sadio Mane and he sent it into the sky. Leeds had quite a few shots that Leeds themselves blocked down, like good shots from Liverpool. So yeah, I don't think Leeds will finish in the top half of the table. I mean, is that a bit mean to say? I don't think so, but I don't think they'll finish in the top half of the table. They don't look very good. Liverpool, on the other hand, do look very good. They've got their finishing back. They've got that consistency, that ruthlessness. They look like they want to go out, score goals, dominate. Thiago's playing well, Fabinho scoring, Mo Salah scoring, Mane. So if Jota can start providing a couple goals here and there, it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool finish. I mean, where are they currently in the table? Okay, yeah, tie on 10 points as well. Oh wow, all 3 of us actually have a goal difference of 8 as well. 10 points or 8 goal difference. Wow, that's actually crazy. But yeah, so that'll wrap it up for the Premier League. Onto the La Liga. Okay, onto the La Liga. We will quickly just touch over the La Liga as I haven't watched the games, so I don't have much to say. I mean, Atletico Madrid beating Espanyol 2-1. I mean, I can see here that Lamar scored in the 90th plus 9. So, I mean, that's pretty ridiculous that there was 9 minutes of extra time. Then, let alone to score the winner in the 9th minute of extra time. Pretty ridiculous. 13 shots, only 3 on target, scored 2 goals. I mean, Simeone won't be too happy about that. Where are they currently? Tied with Real Madrid, 3rd place. So yeah, on to the Madrid game. Okay, the next game we have Real Madrid versus Celta Vigo. I did have this on last night while I was playing, so I did see a Benzema hat-trick, Vinicius Jr. Oh, I didn't notice that Eduardo Camavinga scored. Oh, I didn't see that during the time. Wow, Camavinga scoring on his debut, his home debut. So yeah, I mean, this is, look, 15 shots from Real Madrid, 11 on target. That's the kind of ruthless stats you want to be seeing. But I mean, Karim Benzema, what a baller. I mean, he when Cristiano left, he really took on that mantle of, I'm now the goal scoring superstar player, like up top. Like, he has really been, these past couple seasons, has been an absolute unit. Even this season so far, he's been very impressive. I mean, they went down twice, Madrid. Celta scored in the 4th minute, then Benz equalized, then Franco Servi scored to make it 2-1, then they equalized, then boom, 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 and then just took them apart. So yeah, I was going to go to the Barca game, figured out Barca didn't play this weekend. No idea why. I was looking for the Barca results for like 5 minutes. No idea why Barca didn't play. So that'll be it for the La Liga. On to the Formula 1. Okay, for the final thing we'll be looking at for today's weekend recap, we'll be recapping the action at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, which is the Italian Grand Prix. Yeah, I mean, based on the sprint race that happened Saturday, and the qualifying, I mean, it looked like it was going to be a little bit of a boring race, you know. Didn't look like too many overtakes were possible and happening around Monza. These cars are just too big, they're too wide, require too much aero. You know, I mean, how many overtakes genuinely happen without DRS? Like, you know what I mean? And DRS is a bit of a cheap move on how to overtake someone. Your car just suddenly starts going faster than theirs, and now you overtake them. It's a little bit lame, but I mean, on the 20th lap, around then, does it say here what lap it happened on? No. But around then, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton pits. Coming out of the pits, Lando Norris goes in front of him, Max, and seem like they're about to have a wheel-to-wheel battle going through the corner. This is Max, this is Lewis. Lewis gets a little bit ahead going through the chicane. Squeezes Max a bit. I mean, he has all right to. He's ahead in the corner. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to slow down to give Max space to come at him through the corner. That's not how racing works. Max gets a bit on the aggressive curbs, bounces up. Their back wheels touch. He like mounts on him like he's about to hit a Smith grind. You know what I mean? If any of you know skateboarding, you know what a Smith grind is. That guy's about a Smith grind on Lewis's car. I mean, when you see the after pictures of the halo literally saving Lewis's life because man's wheels hitting him in the back of the head. I mean, those pictures were a bit hectic. I mean, the penalty given out to Max Verstappen was a grid penalty and a points deduction. So I mean, clearly the stewards viewed that as a very dangerous incident. You know, I'm going to be entirely honest, I did view it as a bit of a racing incident. You know what I mean? It was quite unlucky that the curbs were so aggressive on the inside that happened to then bounce Max's car up. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for those aggressive curbs, probably just would have been a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, maybe a bit of front-end contact. Would have been interesting to see how the rest of that lap played out, because in my opinion, I don't understand why Max was so aggressive. He definitely could have waited there around a circuit that, you know, heavily favors speed. Lewis had just stopped for fresh tires, so, you know, you don't have the warmth in those tires yet. Max looked like he was flying, you know what I mean? Whatever, I don't sit in the racing car. Very easy to sit here in my sleek gaming chair and say, no, you should have done this different when you were racing your racing car. So I mean, the actual results of the race were a McLaren 1-2, which I mean, I don't think anybody in the world could have bet on a McLaren 1-2. They're the first team to get a 1-2 this season. So funny that it's just McLaren around Italy winning. I mean, absolute scenes. Danny Rick first, Lando Norris second, Valtteri in third. It was actually Perez finishing third on track, but then he got a 5-second time penalty, which then pushed him down to fifth. Yeah, who else? George Russell in eighth, scoring more points. I mean, at this point, George is just a points machine. Yeah, and then Mazepin, I mean, he's just cuck. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Yuki Tsunoda all DNFing. So yeah, I mean, Formula One at the moment, it's a bit boring. I mean, thank goodness for the battle between Max and Lewis. Otherwise, I do feel like Formula One would be a little bit boring, a lot bit boring. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the new regulations that come in next season to change the specifications of the car, the sizes and all of that do have a big impact. Because I mean, I think everyone is praying that they do have a big impact, because we just want to see some nice hard racing between lots of people. You know what I mean? It's another comment that people make when they say, look what happens when Lewis and Max are out. You know, the racing is a lot closer. So it's like, you know, obviously you can't be mad that the two Oaks that are the best, you know, probably on the grid are dominating. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because, you know, I mean, there's people like Nicholas Latifi in the Williams, Vettel, Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. Like, these cars are just never going to be good enough, fast enough to compete at the top levels. But I mean, can you blame them? You know what I mean? People don't get mad because Norwich is shit in the Premier League. They're not like, this is unfair, they shouldn't be allowed to spend this much, Norwich can't compete. It's like, what are you talking, what the fuck are you talking about, fam? So yeah, I mean, Formula One, interesting. I mean, definitely added some spice to the race with the accident. I mean, it'll definitely add a lot more spice to the race, the next upcoming races. When's the next race? The Russian Grand Prix on the 26th of September, so the end of the month. Sochi's not the best track to race around. Yeah, it's decent. So it'll be interesting to see, because then Turkish, United States, Mexican, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 7 more races left. So I mean, with the fight between Max and Lewis, especially Max getting a point deduction, it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of the Formula One season goes out. But that is it for the weekend recap. As always, a thumbs up if you enjoyed, a thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace. Okay, bye.